Hello and welcome to the Saratoga Springs Planning Commission meeting for July 22nd, 2021. I've asked Commissioner Bryce Anderson to lead us in the pledge, so I'll turn it over to him.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All of the next item is a roll call. All of the planning commissioners are here this evening, so we have definitely have a quorum. The next item is public input. Time has been set aside for any person to express ideas, concerns, comments, questions, or issues that are not currently listed as a public hearing on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and address for the record. The podium is open if anyone is interested in making comment at this time. Looks like there's no comments, so we will close public comment. The next item, item number 4, is public hearing. There is no public hearing for this evening, so we'll close that and move on to the next item. Number 5 is a business item. Harvest Point Commercial, Plat B, preliminary plat, located approximately 2113 North Redwood Road. Not sure how to pronounce the name of the applicant, but our planner, David Rogers, is going to be presenting that for us. So I'll turn the time over to him.
Okay. So this item is it's a preliminary plat, and the applicant is requesting requesting a preliminary plat approval for Harvest Point Commercial Plat B, which includes the splitting of one lot into 2 lots. The applicant considered 2 buildings with their original site plan approval. One building was approved, and a future pad site was also identified on the site plan. The applicant now desires to split the lot into 2 lots to allow for the sale of the future pad. Staff recommends approval based on the findings and conditions in the staff report.
Is the applicant here? Would you like to come up and please state your name and give your address for the record, please?
Ken Berg from Berg Civil Engineering from the representing Markham Dental.
Okay. Do you have anything you would like to add to the presentation?
No, David done a great job.
Okay. Oh, yes. Could you state your address? The business address is fine.
1018 North Deercrest Lane, Alpine, Utah.
Okay, great. Thanks. This is a business item, so I'll turn this over to the commission for comments and questions. Commissioner Kilgore.
Since this is an administrative action, I'd like to just ask the applicant, are you willing to comply with all the conditions in the city planning staff packet? Okay, terrific. And I have a question for the staff. Does the staff anticipate any issues with the applicant complying with the standard plat format? Because there was a note in the packet.
No, I do not.
What's that?
I do not see any issues.
Okay,
Yeah.
terrific. That's it for me.
Okay. Any other comments, questions from the commission? Commissioner Barton.
Oh, I just wondering, so the applicant to begin with was going to build two buildings on it, and then they said not to, is that?
Yeah, if you recall, there was a site plan extension for Markham Dental
Oh, right.
not too long ago. There's always a second pad that was contemplated on this property.
Okay.
A lot of times you see this for the purpose of selling a portion of the property to finance
Oh, their first or what they're
the building, whatever. I mean,
Right.
they haven't told us that, but typically that's what we see. Okay. And so that's all. I mean, what they're requesting tonight totally meets the ordinance, just
Well, no,
taking
it's-
one lot to 2.
Okay, thanks.
I'm going to turn the volume up. I'm having a hard time hearing here. Okay. Commissioner McConkey.
Thank you. The new pad, which is lot 2, correct? Is what's shown as
Yes.
lot 2. I'm looking at the shape, and I'm kind of comparing the two. Is there any concern about fitting a building on that lot 2? It's kind of an odd shape, and I was a little bit concerned with, not wanting to have an empty lot sitting there because it's such an awkward sized lot that we end up with the field of weeds for a very long time, or something. I don't, looking at a piece of paper right here,
Yeah, I mean,
is this a good move?
just to, they're all vacant lots right now.
They are
They have all
vacant
been that
lots.
way for, this plat was approved quite a while ago.
Right.
Obviously how they're drawing the property line, it's certainly going to restrict more so what can be put in there, but that's at the applicant's, knowledge they're doing that. You can certainly fit a building that meets code. But certainly they do limit somewhat by now having a product, because now you have 2 side setbacks you're going to have to meet, but certainly a building can fit there.
Okay. What's the width on that narrowest buildable area?
Just eyeballing, I'd probably say you're probably somewhere around 75 feet.
75 feet?
I'm just eyeballing it based on the road width of harvest out there.
Okay, yeah, that's very limiting, especially, I'm looking, 302 meets the minimum square footage for lot size in the regional commercial zone, correct?
Yes.
It's not the shape of the lot that limits the building size, it's the parking available on the site.
Right.
So between the two. So their plan is to
Combination
build their
between-
dental office on lot 1 and build the other office as well. So their plan is to improve it all. It's just a financing procedure to split the lots.
Okay, I guess they can go up to 4 stories in a RC zone, right? Anyway,
I believe so.
I believe so.
Yeah, you can go 50 feet in the RC zone. 50 feet high.
Yeah, 50 feet, yeah.
I
Which gives you
doubt
about
you're
4
gonna see one of those
stories,
there,
because
but,
you got your, yeah.
Yeah. Lot width is measured, the setback lot width has to be 100 feet.
Skinny, tall
so-
building. Okay. I noticed also on page 14 mentions homeowners association on the new plat and HOA, and notes on note 16 on page 19. I'm guessing that probably homeowners association HOA was not the intent. Is that correct?
It's a business HOA. It's
So a homeowners association is a commercial.
We still refer to them as HOAs.
Gotcha.
We don't call them as like a commercial, Dave mentioned commercial. We just
I've not
generally
heard that
still call
before,
it as an
but-
HOA.
I gotcha. That's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Barton, and then we'll go to Commissioner Wagstaff.
I think my question was kind of answered. I was wondering if we didn't split into 2, if the developer would be developing the entire property. They're still planning on doing that even though they're selling they're wanting to split it?
Yeah, they're wanting to split it just based off of
Right.
initial financing, loans, and securities. So their plan is to develop the whole lot. It's just, this
Right.
is part of the requirements.
And this might be Director Stroud, question for you. If it's not split into, do they have to develop the entire thing? Do they have to turn it into something? I mean, how does that work? Can they only put a building and do parking for half of it and leave it empty, or how does?
Oh, yeah, I mean, if you're going to develop then the entire lot, you'd have to at least landscape it.
So you have to do
like
something
that.
with it if
Yeah.
you're, okay, I thought that, but I wanted to clarify and make sure. So, okay, that was it. Thanks.
And in the original site plan, they had, I think, just the footprint carved out for future building landscaped around it, that type of thing.
Okay.
Commissioner Wagstaff.
So I'm just curious, and obviously you can subdivide it how you want, but is there a reason why the road comes in and then has the 290s? Was there like just a benefit, just out of my curiosity?
On the lot line,
On the road coming, coming through the middle, isn't that a road coming through where it's getting subdivided?
That's just the lot line.
That's just the lot line?
that's
Right.
just the lot
Oh.
line and the associated public utility easements on each side of
Okay.
that. And that lot line up where it's taken the jogs is matching parking stalls.
Perfect, thank you.
And that crosshatch down there too is just basically cross-access and parking easements between the two lots.
If we don't have any other comments from the commission, I will open it up for a motion.
I move that the planning commission forward a recommendation of approval to the city council for the Harvest Point Commercial Plat B preliminary plat located at approximately 2113 North River Road based upon the findings and conditions in the staff report.
We have a motion from Commissioner Barton. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Anderson. Do we have a question on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Looks like that's passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a business item, Lake Mountain Estates Lot 262 plat amendment located at 3972 Lake Mountain Drive. Benjamin Ashby as applicant, planner David Rogers. Go ahead, David. And
Thank you very much. So for this one, the property owner wishes to vacate the PUEs on the north and east property lines. There will be no other adjustments to the property. The plat just needs to be updated to show the vacations of these PUEs, and the applicant received signed vacation letters from all of the required utility companies. So staff recommends approval based on the findings and conditions in the staff report.
all right, is the applicant here? No, okay. I'll go ahead and open this up to questions from the commission. Commissioner Kilgore.
Just wondering, so what's this all about? So what does that mean to vacate the public utilities easement? I mean, I know what the words mean, but I'm not sure what the reason is, and, you know, what I've never heard this before.
Sure.
This kind of an application before, so.
Yeah, so the applicant basically he wants to have access, I guess, to that parts of his property that is currently occupied by the easement. By getting the utility companies to sign off, they're basically saying that they vacate, that they don't need to use, or that they acknowledge that per the plat, these easements will be removed, which allows the applicant to more easily use that property.
So if they don't have the easements there, does it go somewhere else? I mean, I imagine they initially put it there so that they could have the most direct access to whatever they're supposed to do.
I mean, I'll jump in here. I mean, it's just standard that we put public utility easements around all the perimeter of a lot. You know, for the last probably standard-wise, probably 30, 40 years, utilities come in from the street now. Very rarely, at least in Saratoga Springs, it's supposed to be in a new city. You don't have utility boxes in the back like in old neighborhoods. You'll find those. They all come in from the street. It's just standard that we put those there just in case something is needed. Now, in the case of removing the PUE now, the council made a change to the code not long ago dealing with accessory structures, where now, I mean, you can't put an accessory structure on a PUE, but if it requires a building permit. If the PUE is gone, that accessory structure can be pushed closer to property lines now. A couple things you could say maybe solved by that when you don't have dead space between a 5-foot dead space between a building that can collect weeds and trash, whatever it may be. Just allows more use of the interior part of a piece of property should someone build some type of accessory structure.
Okay, and then if you evacuate the PUE for this little section, does that create a hole in that area where there's no PUE, or is that?
So it would just be vacating the PUE on his property. So the PUEs would be on both sides of the property line, and it would just be the utility companies are releasing just the PUEs on his property.
Okay, so we're not creating like a black hole.
No, we're not.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, if we were, I mean, the PUE companies, we have them get a letter to say they're willing to vacate or relinquish rights. Sometimes they'll give us a letter that says we'll allow you to encroach. That doesn't get rid of the PUE. It still means it's there. And so there's times where we say, no, you need to revise the language in the letter. And so they look at all of their master plans where their utility lines currently are located, where they plan on having them. if they don't foresee a need for these. And I don't know if we even have any side and rear property lines where there are current lines in the city now, but they've all looked at it and said, yeah, we don't need those.
Okay. And do you know if the applicant's okay with the conditions in the staff report? If they're-
Yes, I spoke to the applicant this morning. He said he would try to make it, but he wasn't sure if he'd be able to be here
Okay.
by the time of his item. So, yes, he's okay with those.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. That's it for me.
Thanks, Commissioner Kilgore. Do we have any other questions or comments from the commission? I had one comment, and then I had emailed David earlier in the week and asked him to make sure he had the letters from each one of them. I wanted to make sure that we had these, since how we are the land use authority. I want to make sure the city had those, at least copies of those in our possession. I'll go ahead and let Commissioner McConkey go ahead.
You can finish if you,
What's that?
did you want to finish?
Oh, yes, I just wanted to make sure we had them in our possession.
Yes.
I think it stated that in the report here.
Yeah, but I wanted to make sure they were here. I wanted physical evidence.
We actually
because we're the
have
land
them.
use authority.
Looking at the, I've got here, the setback and the PUE detail shown on the plat amendment is in conflict and still shows a 10-foot and 8-foot PUEs. It's on page 22 of the staff, of the report. Is that a concern on the new plat?
You said there's a conflict?
Well, where we're proposing to vacate that 8-foot, or those two,
They're 5-foot PUEs.
or 5 foot.
I believe
yeah.
they're both 5
Yeah,
foot.
They're both 5
'cause
foot.
5 foot on each side of the property line. There's the detail that shows the PUEs on that same page.
Oh, that's just a standard setback detail. We would actually physically look on the lot
That's
itself.
my question, is that
No, it's
is
fine.
that a concern? Does that create a conflict?
No.
Okay. And the plat has additional errors highlighted. Will these be corrected?
Yes, so those errors were highlighted to let the applicant know that they needed to be adjusted before they print the Mylar.
Awesome.
Just typos.
Yeah, what we do is we do a final PDF review. It goes back to everybody, say, here's your final look, to go through where we, maybe something wasn't caught the first time. And so that's what this is.
Sounds good. That's all I have. Thanks.
Any other comments from the commission? I will entertain a motion.
I move that the Planning Commission approve the plat amendment for Lake Mountain Estates, Plat H, Lot 262, located at 3972 South Lake Mountain Drive, as shown in the exhibits with the findings and conditions in the staff report dated July 22nd, 2021.
We have a motion from Commissioner Kilgore. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We'll give it to Commissioner Ryan, right?
Sure.
Was it Josh? Oh, think Commissioner Wagstaff. We'll give it to him. I couldn't tell. Any question on the motion?
You get to choose.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Looks like it passed unanimously. All right, the next item, number 7, business item, Concord Village Site Plan Extension located approximately Pony Express and Foothill Boulevard. Castlewood Development, Haley Pratt as applicant, Planning Director David Stroud. So we'll turn the time over to David Stroud.
Sorry, I
for
had Ben
presentation.
Ashby on that last one. Yeah, this is a request by Castlewood Development. If you recall, the whole Concord Lexington development by LeVar Christensen has been in the works since at least 2009, as early as 2009, probably earlier. But that's when the first agreement with the city came through, or the purchase agreement for the development. He sold property to the city. He sold property to UDOT. Basically, right now, there's a development agreement on the property which guarantees at this time the developer, LeVar Christensen, 252 apartment units. That's said and done. Nothing else can be done about that. The apartments are granted site plan approval back in 2019. Site plans are good for 2 years. And so Mr. Christensen is in the process of selling the project to Castlewood Development. And so they will then pick up the project. They would like to make some changes to the open space amenities, to the architecture, to give them time for that. The deadline for the site plan approval was coming out in September. The code allows somebody to request a site plan extension. They just have to request it before that 2-year deadline, and they have requested that. That would then give them time to get their plans in order, who they need to meet with, changes they need to make to get the project moving forward. And so they would like to request a site plan extension. You can approve an extension for up to another 2 years. It's at your discretion there. But I have all the slides from the original site plan. Again, you're not doing anything with the site plan tonight. The site plan approval is still valid. You're strictly looking at, do we grant them an extension that would take place once that initial 2 years, that 2-year deadline in September approaches. And so I can go through all the slides if you want. Probably not necessary. They are here. But again, you're really just looking at, do we grant them an extension?
Is the applicant here this evening? Would you like to come up and state your name and address for us? And then do you have anything you would like to add?
First of all, my name's not Haley Pratt, it's Dwayne Rasmussen. I'm Haley's partner at Castlewood Development. My address is 6900 South 9th East in Midvale, Utah. We're not in the process of purchasing this from LeVar anymore. We now own it. We closed on it about a month ago, and we are very excited about this. We recognize we have to live with the development agreement. We think we can bring some changes that you'll be pleased with regarding the site plan. We don't intend to reduce the open space or anything like that. We just have some different thoughts on how to develop this. And so we may need some time to do it. We will not need 2 years. I hope we're through it by September and under construction come this fall, maybe early winter. So we just thought we ought to get this in place in case we run up against that September deadline rather than coming in here at the last minute.
So how much time would you like us to grant you?
Well, I think to be fair to all of us so that we're not back here asking for that again, probably a year would work. But my hope is that we're working on a new site plan right now that complies with the development agreement. We hope to be in here with that and some new building elevations probably sometime late August, early September.
Okay. And then about how long after that before you'd start construction?
Depends on how quickly we can get our building plans approved by your department because we are redoing the buildings as well. We've developed about 2,500 units along the Wasatch Front in the last 3 to 5 years, including the Alloy at Vineyard and some other projects that you might be familiar with. And we weren't satisfied with the building plans, particularly in terms of efficiency and what's available in the market today. So we are having those redrawn right now. And as soon as we get those redrawn, we'll submit those simultaneously with the site plan application.
Okay. I will turn this over to the commission for questions and comments. Commissioner Ryan.
Director Stout, I just have a couple quick questions. Can you go back to the map? Is there any concern with right-of-way for Mountain View corridor? Seems like we're far enough away, but if I understand correctly, this is basically going to be right along the alignment, right, where Mountain View comes
Yeah,
through.
I mean, that was all taken into consideration when the site plan was approved, where the corridor line would go and the buffer needed for that.
Okay.
This project actually started further to the right, to the east than it shows now.
Okay.
Over time, and the acreage was greater, but the number of units was basically guaranteed. So yeah, they're kind of more in a more compact area, but all that was taken into consideration on the site plan.
Okay, it looked like there was wide. Now, I just kind of wanted your thoughts on that as well. And then just for my benefit, informationally, I'll ask the tough questions like Commissioner Kilgore did for us on the last one, because I had the same question about what it actually meant. So I'm glad he asked that. On this one, what does it actually mean if we don't grant an extension? What then happens?
If an extension is not granted, they'd have to formally reapply for site plan. But again, there's that agreement in place. They are entitled to that density.
Yeah, so nothing would change regarding the density. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah,
because
and we as staff spent a lot of time on that first go around, and we would prefer not to do it again. And so we think that the extension is probably a good request at this time.
Appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
Commissioner Kilgore.
Yeah, so there are a number of can complies in the staff packet. So I was just wondering if if the, it says here that building size does not comply, please explain. So I'd like you to explain how you can get into compliance. I guess it's one of the changes that you're making.
Well, if I could jump in there, again, you're not looking at the site specifics right now. You're just looking at the extension of the site plan approval. Now, we haven't formally received what their plan, we discussed it. They said we'd like to make some changes. They showed some conceptual type elevations. We still have to look at those in detail to see it does it meet as a staff approval, a site plan amendment, or would it have to come back to you?
You're right. I apologize. I thought that site plan with those comments about can't comply were pertaining to the most recent application, but I guess that's not the case. That's just from what it was before.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that I remember seeing those a while ago, and so, okay, then those questions are all gone. Then I guess I don't really, this is a question about, so maybe this doesn't pertain either, but because of the agreement that's in place, the development agreement, the developer can uses the 2009 standards to build city standards as opposed to the modern one.
Right. The agreement stipulates, again, I can't remember, I think landscaping and parking may have been one as well.
Yeah.
They are held to certain standards from 2009 as opposed to today's standards. And that's what the site plan was initially reviewed on when it was approved 2 years ago.
And that will continue with this.
Correct. Correct. The applicant could come in and say, I don't like Mr. Christian's design. I'm going to come back. I'm going to wipe my slate clean. He could come back in for a totally new design. That would have to come back to you, but he's certainly entitled to do that because he has the rights to those agreed upon units.
Okay. So I was just wondering if, so say like the road size standards had changed in order to accommodate like fire trucks and larger fire trucks and things like that. In cases like that, do they still say, well, too bad, I'm going to use the 2009 standard? Is that?
If I recall, I don't think that applied. I think everything was, as far as road width, road design was the current standards we have now.
Okay. And then things like water, like you mentioned landscaping. So if there were some water conservation type of things that were put in place, again, they say, well, too bad, we will go back, you're going to use the standards from 12 years ago. And
yeah, without the agreement, in front of me, it's whatever, the agreement outlines exactly what you use for 2009, what's used for current. And that's what we did review and what you did approve then, September of 2019.
Right. Okay. All right, that's all the questions I had.
Thanks. Commissioner Anderson.
So this is just for my education, but 2 years transpires, we grant an extension, another period of time comes. There's development that has and continues to happen in that area. And so my question is, when it transpires over such a long period of time and development's happening other ways around, does it ever change our approach to what should happen in that? Does that make sense? Like, if you were to notice these neighbors regarding what's coming now after 2+ more years, does that lapse of time ever make us want to reevaluate, given what's transpired everywhere else around it?
I mean, a couple things, and Scott can speak to that, but as far as engineering goes, for instance, we plan ahead of what's going to be needed, not necessarily what the impact their development would have, but at build out, say we need a 24-inch line of whatever, and their development says we only need a 12. We still upgrade to 24. We reimburse the developer for the cost of increasing because we're planning ahead of what could be there. But as far as, again, this project is unique because of that agreement. Okay. If that agreement wasn't in place, it'd be probably a different animal right now. Or if it expired, then they'd have to come back for potentially, ask for new and potentially not get it, or may not meet the current zoning, because the current zoning right now actually does not allow this type of development. The agreement does, however, so it supersedes the zoning on the property. So if this was a development that didn't have that agreement and they expired, they wouldn't be able to do the 252 anymore, unless they got a rezone, which would be another question.
Okay. Thanks.
Commissioner McConkey.
I just have a quick question. It's in granting an extension, is it a 2 years or nothing, or is it whatever.
It's up to you. The applicant has said we could do it within a year. You can go up to 2 years.
Okay.
It's up to you.
That's my only question.
And what you see on the screen here, let me go back to it. There's the code reference right there. That's the same reference you had to basically make your decision on the first go around as well. Nothing's really changed in the 2 years about that. So still into the same standards.
And the applicant's feeling that a year would be more than adequate?
Yes, Commissioner.
correct?
I mean, we now own this. We're burning money as we speak. And
Yeah.
so the quicker we get started, the better I think we'll all be. And you'll have this behind you. We bought it, Commissioner Anderson, as a result of that development agreement being in place and recognize that we have to comply with those standards.
There's no statute of limitations on that agreement, is there? Okay,
Runs with the land.
okay, thanks.
Commissioner McConkey, did you have anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Any other comments from the commission? Okay, so whoever makes the motion on this one, make sure you specify if you're going to do 12 months or 24 months on this, and I will open it up for a motion.
Motion. Move to approve the proposed site plan extension of Concord Village apartment at Pony Express and Foothill Boulevard in the R36 zone with the finding, and, well, before I say that, in the R36 zone for 1 year from today, no, 1 year from September
In the process of that.
30th.
Is it September? What's the date in September? We need to go.
September 12th.
1 year from expiration of the.
September 12th, 2021 is when it expires.
Okay, that date right there.
So you could just say a year from,
You said September.
well, on the screen, the date of your last approval was September 12th, 2019.
Okay, so I'll restate this. I move to approve the proposed site plan extension of Concord Village apartment at Pony Express and Foothill Boulevard in the R36 zone for 1 year, beginning on September 12th, 2021, with the findings and conditions stated below.
We have a motion from Commissioner McConkey. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Wagstaff?
Yep.
Do we have any, do we have a question on the motion?
Yeah, I do. So I'm interested in knowing why you want to change it. I know the applicant said that they're capable of doing it, but I don't see why we don't just keep it at 24 months.
I'm with you. I think 2 years is just, I mean, again, I'm sure it's going to be a year, but I just feel like, so we're not back here because things happen, I mean, you never know. It's construction, right?
Especially with the history of this particular property. I'm not saying that your firm will be the same, but
Right.
we have been with this property over and over and over, and it may not even be in your control. Something could come up again, and so I'm just wondering why we don't just go with what the applicant requested.
Commissioner McConkey, are you willing to amend your amendment from 12 months to 24?
I will amend
Okay,
to
I'll second
24
that.
month.
the second.
Yes. Do you want me to restate the motion?
Wait a second, we have a comment from the community development. Ken, did you want to chime in here?
Well, I wasn't going to chime in because it was heading towards a year. I'll just mention, and it doesn't need to have any impact on your decision-making here, but simply because of the history on this property, there's been a huge concern on behalf of the administration and city council about whether or not this property was ever going to move forward. And a recommendation that didn't get forwarded to you, but came through our ranks from administration was 6 months ought to be plenty. In that the applicant has said that it sounds like 6 months would be plenty, but 1 year might be better. It might look and feel better based on the history of the development of this property, that we don't keep continuing for 2 years at a time, that we kind of tie it down, and if the applicant is ready to do that, then why not?
I actually appreciate those comments from Ken, because why not give it a sense of urgency? And we have that ability to give it a sense of urgency. The only thing limiting us is shall not exceed 24 months. We could do 1 month, we could do 2 months, and then you really are forcing action. So
Right.
I'm actually more in favor of keeping it to a year or less.
I guess my.
Been out 2 years.
I guess my reason is because although we've seen this property over and over and over again, it's not the current applicant's fault. And the current applicant does deserve to get as much time as they need to in order to get it right. If they could do it in less time, then that's great. There may be issues running with the property and all the things that happened, with it. So there were some things out of the control, but it is a new applicant. And that's why I just feel like I think that they should have the benefit of the doubt. The code allows it and the applicant asked for it. So that's why.
I appreciate that, Commissioner Kilgore, and I think we have comments from the applicant that he's ready and willing to go, and I think we could match it without hesitation. And unless I'm wrong, and you can correct me, Director Stroud, but nothing would prevent us from coming up on this expiration and granting an additional extension should we run into unforeseen circumstances, as mentioned by Commissioner
that could
Kilgore.
happen.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, you may make a comment, Commissioner Anderson.
With that said, there's no one anxious to put 252 units on that road, that Foothill Boulevard. And
But that's not what you need in that
I know.
time period.
I'm just saying we could buckle it down and push this thing forward fast. I don't know.
All this is just to get the site plan
I know.
back to us, not actually
know.
develop it, right?
So if it takes them 2 years to get back, that's 2 more years we have to get some actual infrastructure in that area in place. I'm not anxious to buckle down or get this thing through, but my reasons probably aren't as good as yours, Ken. So, but when those units hit that road in its current state, it'll be a nightmare. So
That's valid.
I think recognizing the business investment in this, I hope that this is a moot point. So certainly,
maybe you do want it to go
when you
fast,
put
so
money
force
down
us
to do something, it's time to get that going and get the return.
Absolutely.
So I'm not feeling overly concerned here.
So, Commissioner McConkey, do you want to restate your motion?
Well, I'm feeling like I'm a bouncing ball in between different battles.
We can't
here.
make anything easy.
What I'd like to do, under the circumstances, and given that the applicant felt that 6 months would be adequate, I think that it would be appropriate to go back to my initial motion.
Okay.
To allow 1 year to move to approve the proposed site plan extension of Concord Village apartment at Pony Express and Foothill Boulevard for 1 year, beginning September 12th, 2021, in the R36 zone with the findings and conditions below.
Do we have a second?
second.
Okay. We're going to pass over the question on the motion. We're going to go to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Congratulations.
Who was the second
That's
on
why
that?
they pay you guys the big
Commissioner.
bucks. Thank you very much. We look
Thank
forward
you.
to getting started. You'll see a site plan
Who was
shortly.
the second on that?
Commissioner Wagstaff was the second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, how long have we been in here? No, only 30 minutes. I think we're good to go. Business item number 8, business item Lake Mountain Irrigation Pond and Losee Canyon Debris Basin site plans located southwest of Harbor Parkway, city initiated. Planner David Rogers. Go ahead, David.
Thank you. So yes, this is a site plan for both an irrigation pond and a debris basin that are both on land that is currently owned by the city and will both be city-owned and maintained properties. Everything looks good from staff perspective, so staff recommends an approval based on the findings and conditions in the staff report.
Okay. I guess I was going to say, open this up to the applicant, but the city's the applicant. So is the engineering department the applicant for this?
Public Works is the applicant.
Oh, okay. Do you have any comments you'd like to add for this?
No.
Okay.
The director reviewed the plans and he's good with everything.
All right. I'll open this to the commission for comments and questions. Commissioner Ryan.
I just appreciate the educative opportunities this evening. I'd love to understand a little bit better what a debris basin actually is or consists of.
So the debris basin, essentially that area is in a burn scar. And one of the things the debris basin is there for is to catch all the trash, mudslides, everything that could come flowing down that slope if a rain event took place, and it would catch it and protect the neighborhood that's to the west of that.
So the idea being that once it's developed around there with the city, is that like some of the areas where it's recessed and then like a flat surface and you have like fields there that are landscaped, or is it just sit like with riprap on it? What does it look like?
I have those plans. It's gonna be, it's not, I don't recall any riprap in it. It should just be a natural surface. I did talk to the engineer a couple of weeks ago, and I know that he plans on going with a natural native planting scheme for it.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Yeah, that's what Jeremy let me know as well, is that it would just be natural land right there.
Okay, thank you, thanks for the help.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. Commissioner Kilgore?
So this is city-owned land? Okay, so even with all the development that happens, this is expected to remain, this debris basin, it will remain in perpetuity, or what?
Yeah, it'll stay. I guess in the future, the basin could be developed if they wanted to move the basin up the mountain, but there's a irrigation pond and a drinking water tank, thank you, going in the same area right next to the debris basin.
Okay. And then if for whatever reason, if it weren't, excuse me, if it weren't approved, what would the city do?
That's a good question. I know that the main purpose is, I believe there was an event before I got here where the burn scar affected the runoff and one of the neighborhoods got impacted. So it's a protection to the neighborhood is
Right.
what the ultimate goal is. Okay. If it wasn't approved, it would have to be pushed again because something needs to be there to protect the neighborhood and keep the city's liability to that. Okay.
In the staff packet, there was an item where it says existing conditions, property lines to be confirmed through subdivision exceptions, and it said can comply. I don't even know what that means.
I'm unaware of that one there.
It's on page, well, it was page 169 on this big packet, so it's on code review. What page is this? Just after general review, code review, under 19.06, landscaping and fencing.
I can speak to that, and Dave can correct me if he needs to jump in on anything. But basically, the area around the debris basin and the pond has not been fully developed yet, but we anticipate that it will basically be developed up to that area. And so what that looks like has not been completely set in stone yet. And so when we say it can comply, it just means that we expect when that is entirely built out that it will meet all of our requirements.
Okay, so it's just a very literal,
right?
It's just literally saying that we don't know until it happens.
Correct.
Yeah, but that you expect it to comply.
Yes.
When it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's it for me. Thank you.
Any other comment? Thank you, Commissioner Kilgore. Any other comments? Commissioner McConkey.
Is there a reason why it's on the downhill side of the future road? Just curious.
I am not familiar with that road, so I couldn't tell you it.
Maybe the road's going to catch the debris so that the pond can stay clear?
Good question. I mean, our Public Works Director, this is his baby right here. And so I'm putting my full faith that that he knows what he's doing and he's had it designed correctly.
Okay, I just had to ask. That's all. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the commission? I'll entertain a motion.
Commissioner Ryan, I move to approve the proposed site plan of Lake Mountain Irrigation Pond and the Losee Canyon debris basin located south and west of Harbor Parkway with the findings and conditions in the staff report dated July 8th, 2021.
We have a motion from Commissioner Ryan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Kilgore. Any question on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Looks like that passes unanimously. All right, next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Does anyone have any changes they'd like to turn in at this time? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for July 8th, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for Thursday, July 8th, 2021 for the Planning Commission meeting.
We have a motion from Commissioner McConkey. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Commissioner Barton. Any question on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That passes unanimously. Commission comments. Any comments from the commission? Move on to director's report, unless someone had a comment.
I have a comment.
Just the same comment about it being on the downside of Mountain View Corridor. I don't know, that's not my place. I just got that after he mentioned that, and so.
We might be doing this again after the road goes in.
How much, a $4 million debris basin, how does that compare to other debris basins? Just curious. The estimated cost of 3.9 million.
Yeah, I couldn't answer.
I know, I know, I just.
Ken, did you have a comment you wanted to make?
The director's report.
Oh, okay.
I sure hope that works.
Next, is director's report. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead.
I'll just say I'm happy to be here. Put it that way.
We're happy to have you back,
very happy.
and we're glad you're safe. Feeling better. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yes, we're all glad that David is back. We've kind of been shorthanded for various reasons, and Dave's time being out crunched us a little bit more, but we're getting back to normal, so that's good.
Just staff really stepped up, so.
I wanted to mention, if you'll put on your calendars, September 14th, which is a Tuesday at 8:30 in the morning. We haven't yet defined or decided if it's going to be at the fire department training room or the police department, but one of those, we are introducing a program here that has been done elsewhere. It's called Breakfast with Planners. We're going to do this like twice a year. And it's a community engagement program where we invite anybody who's interested in city planning or issues that are happening in the community to come out. They can get some fruit and a bagel and a cup of coffee or whatever and sit down and join one of 3 tables initially that will have a conversation ongoing about some topic that we are presenting, and kind of it's an informal discussion, so it's a give and take kind of a thing instead of a formal meeting. And we have like 20, 25 minutes per session at that table. Then they can get up and rotate to another table, one of 3. So over an hour to an hour and a half time, we have community engagement and discussions on 3 different topics. What we're looking at for this first event will be the update of the coming update of the general plan. We just went out on an RFP for proposals to have that updated. We only received 1. We realized that our timing and a few other things were not right on that, so we're going to reissue our RFP. But anyway, we're hoping by September 14th we're going to have some new proposals submitted, and we're just going to kind of kick off the whole idea of updating the general plan and just get some very preliminary discussions revolving around that going with the public. Another one will be coming businesses and developments in the community, so we can just kind of discuss those, answer questions. And then the other one would be talking about ADUs, the accessory dwelling units, which is being mandated by the state, and we are preparing an ordinance which will be coming forward for your review in a little while. But it's something that we would like to get community interaction and involvement in as well. So I've seen this happen in other communities. It's very successful. It's just kind of lets people get involved who want to be involved. It's an educational opportunity for them, and it's an opportunity for us to get feedback from them. So we would invite you to come and attend. I know that doesn't fit everybody's schedule. However, if you're able to, that would be great to join us. We will give you another reminder and let you know exactly where that will be held.
What time on the 14th?
8:30 in the morning.
Oh.
8:30.
Oh, I'm sorry, let me just add, another thing that we've introduced recently, and it is available on our website, we have what we call the rap sheet, report on active projects, and we're trying to get the word out on that. We've had it on Facebook and social media with the city, and it's just a brief summary of what's happening in town, what's being built. We kind of throw out the title of what are they building there, you know? So if you got a question, you just look up on the sheet, you can look it up by address or whatever and find out what's going on. And so we update that weekly, and it's posted on the city's website.
I love that. There's always questions all over about it. I'm sure you guys see them too. What's going in there? What's going in there?
Yes. And when you give them the correct answer, they tell you are wrong. Okay. Do we have a need to go into a closed session?
We do not.
Do not? Okay. We will, next meeting, will we have one in 2 weeks?
Yeah, date of, let's see, that would be August 12th.
We will adjourn this meeting then until August 12th. Thanks for attending, everyone.